James Gunn isn't just rebooting DC, he's playing 4D chess. While everyone's arguing about Superman, he's quietly building the only strategy that can actually save the DC universe. After Nolan's Batman shattered expectations, Warner Brothers had everything they needed: the world's most iconic heroes, a loyal fan base, and a clear shot at building their own cinematic universe. But then, ego met impatience. In 2016, Batman v Superman was supposed to be the start of something legendary, DC's answer to the Avengers. But instead, it split the fan base down the middle. To some, it was visionary. To others, a confusing, joyless mess. Then came Justice League, a movie that was supposed to unite the world's greatest heroes, but ended up exposing the cracks behind the scenes. Zack Snyder, the man leading the vision, stepped away after a family tragedy. Joss Whedon was brought in to finish the job, and the result was a theatrical cut that flopped so hard it nearly killed the franchise. By 2018, DC was in shambles. The fan base was divided. The actors were walking away. The brand? A punchline. Marvel was soaring with Infinity War, and DC was drowning in its own ambition. It looked like the end. But then, from the ashes of a studio's confusion came an unlikely name. A man Marvel had just fired: James Gunn. When Disney fired James Gunn over resurfaced tweets, the world thought his career was over. He'd been the creative mind behind Guardians of the Galaxy, one of Marvel's most beloved sagas. And just like that, gone. But Warner Brothers saw something everyone else missed. Toby Emmerich, then a studio executive, saw a spark and offered Gunn a chance to work with DC. At first, Gunn was hesitant. They wanted him to relaunch Superman, but the character was radioactive at that point. Nobody knew if Henry Cavill was staying or going, and the Snyderverse was hanging by a thread. Gunn made a different choice. A smaller one. A risk that didn't look like much but would end up changing DC forever. He chose the Suicide Squad. Now, let's be honest, Suicide Squad 2016 was a disaster. A studio-mangled mess that critics tore apart. So when Gunn said he wanted to make a sequel, people laughed. But Gunn had a plan. He'd already made audiences fall in love with a talking raccoon and a tree. Why not a bunch of DC misfits? Gunn didn't want to save the entire universe yet. He just wanted people to enjoy a DC movie again. Warner gave him full creative control, something Marvel never did, and he went wild. He wrote with heart, with chaos, with no filter. He killed characters nobody expected. He made you laugh, cry, and somehow care about a shark that eats people. When The Suicide Squad was released in 2021, critics loved it. Fans loved it. But financially, it bombed. The pandemic hit theaters hard. The film was released simultaneously on HBO Max, and its box office numbers suffered. Many thought that would be the end of Gunn's DC journey. But Warner Brothers saw beyond the numbers. They saw a connection. For the first time in years, people were talking about DC with excitement again. So they gave Gunn another chance, and this time, he went even smaller. He focused on one character, Peacemaker. At first, Peacemaker was meant to die in the Suicide Squad, but John Cena's performance surprised Gunn. There was something deeper there. So he rewrote the ending and gave him his own series. Everyone said it would fail. Marvel was making shows about beloved heroes like Loki and Wanda. DC, they were making a show about a violent man in a shiny helmet. But Gunn knew exactly what he was doing. He understood that audiences didn't want perfect heroes. They wanted flawed, funny, broken people who could still do something good. Peacemaker became a hit. It was raw, unapologetic, emotional, and it made people care. By the end of Season 1, viewership had skyrocketed by 44%. Peacemaker wasn't a joke anymore. He was proof that DC could tell great stories again. And that's when everything changed. In 2022, Warner Brothers merged with Discovery. The new CEO, David Zaslav, wanted order, and he wanted a leader, someone who could unify DC's chaos. So he created DC Studios and placed James Gunn and producer Peter Safran in charge. For the first time in history, DC films, shows, and even games would all follow a single unified vision. Gunn wasn't just a director anymore, he was the creative architect of the entire DC universe. But stepping into that role meant walking straight into fire, because not everyone wanted change. The Snyderverse fans wanted their heroes back. Henry Cavill's Superman had just made a cameo in Black Adam, thanks to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's influence. The Rock promised fans that the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change. But behind the scenes, that cameo wasn't Gunn's plan. When Gunn and Safran officially took over, they made the toughest call of all. They weren't continuing the old DC universe. They were rebooting everything. Cavill was out. Affleck was out. The old guard was gone. The internet exploded. Fans felt betrayed. Gunn, the man who'd rebuilt trust, suddenly became the villain. But he didn't back down. He released a video in January 2023, a calm, honest explanation of his vision. He revealed a 10-year plan, one built not on big crossovers or rushed team-ups, but on story. His new DC universe would unfold in chapters. It would start with Superman: Legacy, written and directed by Gunn himself. Then move through projects both big and small, from The Authority to Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, even obscure teams like the Creature Commandos. Gunn wasn't chasing Marvel. He was rebuilding DC from the ground up, slowly, patiently, purpose. But what made Gunn's strategy different, and what made it work, wasn't just his creative ideas, it was his philosophy. He refused to greenlight any project until the script was ready. He canceled multiple pitches because they weren't strong enough. He valued quality over quantity. He didn't want DC to feel like homework. He wanted it to feel like fun again. And unlike the chaos of Marvel's recent years, where directors often came and went mid-production, Gunn wanted consistency. He wanted a heart. He wanted every story, even the weird ones, to mean something. Meanwhile, he found a way to balance DC's side projects too. Films like The Batman and Joker existed outside the main universe, under a new label called DC Elseworlds. These stories could thrive creatively, without breaking continuity. It was a masterstroke, allowing directors like Matt Reeves and Todd Phillips to keep their unique visions alive, while Gunn built his new world separately. And then came the real test. Superman. This wasn't just another reboot. It was the foundation for everything to come. If Superman: Legacy failed, Gunn's entire empire could collapse before it began. For months, fans debated the casting, the tone, the suit, the story. The internet tore apart every image, every leak, every frame of the teaser. But when it was finally released, everything changed. The film was a triumph. Critics praised its optimism, its warmth, its balance between old-school heroism and modern depth. The audience cried. Kids looked at Superman again, not as a god, not as a symbol of tragedy, but as hope. It crushed Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot at the box office. It became the highest-grossing superhero movie of 2025, and for the first time in 17 years, DC stood taller than Marvel. James Gunn had done it. He'd saved DC, not with nostalgia, not with spectacle, but with soul. But saving DC wasn't just about one movie. It was about rebuilding trust. After Superman, Gunn doubled down. He fixed continuity issues from Peacemaker by reshooting old cameos with the new Justice League cast. Small details, but powerful symbols of unity. He brought back characters fans loved, reintroduced new ones with care, and kept his promise that every project, big or small, would matter. The result? Peacemaker Season 2 became the highest-rated superhero show ever, with a staggering 99% critical score. And when Gunn announced Man of Tomorrow, the sequel to Superman: Legacy, the internet erupted. This time, Clark Kent would team up with Lex Luthor to face a larger threat rumored to be Brainiac. It wouldn't just be a Superman sequel, it would be a crossover event, connecting threads from across the DCU. But here's what made it genius. Gunn didn't announce it until audiences already cared, until Superman had won their hearts. That's something Marvel forgot long ago. Earn the moment, don't demand it. In the end, James Gunn didn't save DC by copying Marvel's blueprint. He did it by breaking it. Where Marvel expanded too fast, Gunn slowed things down. Where Marvel flooded the market, Gunn curated. Where Marvel played it safe, Gunn took weird, violent, heartfelt risks that somehow worked. He built a universe not on spectacle, but on story. Not on icons, but on people. And in doing so, he reignited the one thing that makes superheroes matter: hope. It's funny that the guy Marvel fired for bad jokes became the man who saved their biggest rival. The outcast, who once wrote about losers and misfits, ended up leading a universe of them. And maybe that's the poetic beauty of it all. James Gunn didn't just save DC, he became DC messy, misunderstood, but ultimately unstoppable. Now, DC Studios is in the strongest place it's been in decades. The new Superman has become a symbol for a new era. Supergirl, the brave and the bold, and the Authority all have momentum. And for once, fans aren't asking, "What's wrong with DC?" They're asking, "What's next?" If you want to see where DC goes next, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, because this is just the beginning. Like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.